Alright, here we go. This is adding a hard drive in Linux. If you didn't want to go through the steps of the article or it was too confusing for you, I'm going to do a different one here. Pretty simple setup here. I've just got a machine that I've logged into here as root. For purposes of this article, I've used a virtual machine. So you can see right now I've just got one hard drive that is about 12 gigs, and I added a second hard drive and rebooted the machine, so it hasn't been technically formatted or set up into the Linux system itself. So this is basically the same thing as if you had a physical machine and you just got a new drive and plugged it in. So the hardware is there, it's spinning, it's got power, but it's not configured for the system yet. So let's just go through and do this. One of the confusing things is if you don't know, what cable you plugged it into or what, is trying to find out what device the new drive will be named. So as you can see, the old one is dev SDA1. Now that's a SCSI disk, and that's the first partition. So you might see HD if it's just a regular IDE drive. Kind of depends on the hardware. So you'll see SDA or HDA. It's not always going to be just SDB. I mean, in this case it is, but the easiest way to see that is if you type dmessage, it's going to show you any changes to the hardware of the machine. It's basically just a real-time log. So obviously I had to reboot this, so some of this stuff is things that came in from the boot, but as you can see here, it says SCSI device SDB right here. Yeah, see, VMware virtual disk. So that was the new one, so we know that it's SDB because it says it right there. So now that we know that that's the physical location of the device, we're just going to set up fdisk here. Fdisk dev SDB. Okay. And sometimes you'll get this warning. That's fine. I just hit 1. Now what are we going to do here? We're going to partition it. So hit P. See, there's nothing at the partition table at all because it's a brand new drive. So let's make a new one. Let's go with 1. Primary partition, we're going to make it number 1. First cylinder, 1. Last cylinder, 10044. It's pretty much saying that we're going to use the whole hard drive for this, or the whole hard drive for this partition. Now let's go through and review the partition. That's the one that we just specified. That's not final. If we screwed something up here, we can always blow it out. It hasn't physically taken any action to the disk yet. So considering this is what we want, we're going to just do W for write, and it's going to create the partition. Okay, so now we've created a partition for the drive, but we need to put a file system on it so we can actually write data to it. So what we're going to do is make file system. ext3 is pretty much what everybody uses these days. Dev SDB1, because that's, as you can see here, the partition we just created. It's going to go through and do its thing, and this obviously will take longer depending on the size of the drive. This is a very small drive, so we're done in no time. Now we need to mount it. It doesn't automatically just appear, so how do we do that? Well, Linux uses a file called the fstab file that has parameters for where and what the drives do and things like that. So we're just going to use vi to edit this file. And as you can see, there's already stuff in here. Obviously, don't mess with any of that. So now what are we going to do? We're going to pick a folder that we want this drive to be mounted as. So say you want this to be a drive that you're going to store like music on, or pirated software, movies, all that good stuff. We are going to make an entry for this. So I'm just going to insert here dev SDB1. It's the new drive. The mount point, we'll call it media. And it's ext3 file system. Defaults are fine. And let's go 1,2. Okay, now let's see what we've got in our main file system. That directory probably isn't. Okay, it already is there. Now, as you can see, we still don't have it yet. I have to run a command to call that file, that fstab file, and then it'll mount it. So just do mount -a, and there it is.